What's going on, you guys? This is Dom with another quick tip that will show you what you can do today. Practical step in order to overcome porn and masturbation. I said masturbation. Masturbation. But first, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. There you'll see a lot of free information, a lot of free stuff, man, a lot of free wisdom to show you what you can do in order to overcome porn addiction. Course is free for you guys, but it took me hours to do it, and I am so happy to be able to help you all. So, what's the tip? The tip is this: stop lying to yourself. Stop lying. And I say that because, in particular, some of you guys are gonna be like, man, what do you mean by I'm lying to myself? Well, of course, I know all of you aren't lying, but as the big majority of you are lying, and you're lying about the fact that you like to masturbate. You're lying about the fact that you love porn. You love the way that it makes you feel. And that's more significant in particular for Christians because a lot of times Christians use the veil of religiosity to cover up their lie. They'll say, well, you know what? God is not through with me yet, which is true, right? And so instead of them just admitting that they love the pleasure of masturbation, they love watching porn, they love seeing all these naked women. And for you women, you love the way it feels to use the dildos and stuff like that. They'll say other things to not admit that. And the problem with that is that if you cannot even start with a general admission that you like it, then it's going to be harder for you to overcome. See, the reason that people engage in pornography, and particularly even in masturbation, is because of the feeling. Nobody would masturbate if it didn't feel good. If it was a hurtful thing, you wouldn't do it. You love it. So, in other words, pleasure has become your God. You love the way masturbation makes you feel. And so that's why it's harder for you to overcome it because it's like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but this feels good. But then you've tried to lie to yourself. And instead of admitting that, you know what, I really love to masturbate. I really love the way this makes me feel when I ejaculate. Just keeping it real, right? And instead of you admitting that, you've, I don't like it. I hate it. I don't like it at all. Like, come on, that's a lie. That's why you're still dealing with it because the reality is you love it. You love the way they feel. So then what do you do next? Well, first, what you do is first you start with admitting that you love to masturbate. You admit that you love well, not admit that you love masturbate, but you admit that you love the feeling that masturbation gives you. You love that release. Admit that. And then what you do, you say, God, help me to not enjoy this. Take away the pleasure from me. Take that away from me, right? And then the other thing that you do is you understand that that pleasure that you're getting from that sexual release was intended for you to release that same energy, if you will, upon a wife or upon a husband. And so then you take that energy that you have, that release, and you channel that, if you will, to your spouse. For those that are married, you say, God, bring me a spouse into my life so I can channel that energy to my significant other. So essentially what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm gonna take all this energy that I'm getting from masturbation and I'm channeling that into another human being. So in other words, you're taking your idleness and you're doing something with your idle time. That's what helped me. That's what helped me because a lot of my issue was I just didn't want to admit that I loved the way it made me feel. And part of the reason I love the way it made me feel because when you masturbate, you create a vision in your head. You create, as I said in my training course, you create a porn avatar. And in your mind, you created this world. In your mind, when you see that porn, when you masturbate, you're thinking about that woman. And that's why your body and your mind, all these mental processes come together in the first place. So first thing you do, admit that you like it. Admit that you love the way that it feels. And then the second thing you do is say, you pray and you say, well, God, I like the way that this feels. Take away this desire from me. And then the third thing you do, put up parameters in order not to do it. One of the biggest things that you could do in order to overcome masturbation, in particular, to take away the power that's behind masturbation, is going on a fast. So decide to go into stuttering. Decide to go on a fast. Fasting disempowers your flesh. Trust me, man. If you're fasting, you are not thinking about masturbating. I'm telling you, you won't even have the strength to think about masturbating. I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys. So that's a quick tip. Number one, recognize that you like it and admit it, that you like the way that it feels when you ejaculate. Number two, go to God and say, God, uh, I'm not gonna lie to you, God. I love the way that this feels. However, your word says I shouldn't do it. Lord, please take away this desire from me. And number three, ask for wisdom and ask for the proper strategies, with one of those strategies being going on a prolonged fast. And the more that you fast, the more that you disempower your spirit, more you disempower your flesh and you empower your spirit. And that goes to a fourth thing, is putting strong spiritual food into your system to make up for that idle space that porn had once you kick it out. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to go from one idle situation to another. See, a lot of you guys are engaged in porn because you're idle. You're not doing anything. So fill that space with something good, right? Otherwise, you're going to find another habit, another compulsive behavior to engage in. So then you go from pornography to all of a sudden now you're overeating, or now you're uh, leering in a girl's window. God forbid. I'm just saying, my point is fill that void with something constructive. And as a Christian, for me, fill it with something godly. All right. I hope those tips helped. For more information on what you can do to overcome porn addiction and to be held accountable, if you will, go to www.pornaddictshelp.com, www.pornaddictshelp.com. I love you guys. Peace.